this wreath kit, you can use any kind of mesh. This mesh that I'm using is horizontal wide stripe mesh. And this is like one of my favorites mesh. It holds up really well. You can do, it fills in really well, so it's got great coverage. And in this one, I'm using a natural and dark orange stripe, and then just the natural. And you can buy these separately. I'm also using just an 8-inch metal sign. We have 8-inch signs in our store. We have ones that are custom that Unique in the Creek actually makes. And we do have some from our wholesale supplier. You'll see that they're a little bit cheaper, but we have all kinds, okay? So you don't have to do it just this way. This style is really cool that I'm gonna show you, okay? So we need to glue the pipe cleaner and the cable mount onto the back of the sign. I wouldn't worry about that because we're not even going to see the back of the sign. So you do get a cable mount and pipe cleaner in your kit. So put your pipe cleaner, although I think Danielle has nicely put the pipe cleaners in the cable mounts for you already. You're going to take the paper off of your cable mount, and I also like to take the the rubber backing off too, so that I'm going to adhere this cable mount right to the metal and not the foam to the metal, because eventually the foam will let loose and your sign will fall off. All right, so you just peel off that rubber backing. And then I like to use some E6000 or even some Gorilla Glue. You can get some Gorilla Glue on Amazon or any of your craft stores or Home Depot and stuff. So I like to use, a little bit of Gorilla Glue or E6000 or DAP. And then I also like to use some hot glue so this glue I'm doing right now will keep the cable mount on permanently. And then the hot glue will keep it temporarily that we can use the sign and put it on our wreath. Okay, so it looks like a bit of a mess. I also like to scratch up the back a little bit. So I even just get my scissors here. If you have sandpaper, you can just do a little sandpaper. Just grab some scissors and just give it a little bit of a, not deep, but just scratch it up just a bit in the center. That gives the glue something to grip onto. All right, hold it in place. And then we're just gonna put it to the side and let it dry while we complete our wreath, okay? So I have wrote out what we're going to be doing. We are going to be using 24 pieces of the striped mesh cut at 10.5 inches. So 24 of these cut at 10.5 inches. Now I did not heat seal these or wood burn them. The petal I'm going to show you with this one, you don't have to heat seal or wood burn. We're going to hide the ends. And then the natural, you need 16 pieces of the natural mesh at 10.5 inches. So you will have mesh left over when we're done this project. So you can just put it to the side and use it for another project, maybe some woodland ruffles or something on another project. And the petal that I'm going to be using today is the cone petal. And I haven't done that one for quite a while. So this should be interesting. Now I have already started it because it is repetitive, right? So you don't need to see me folding the same petal over and over and over. Okay, so 24 pieces of the striped mesh at 10.5 inch and 16 pieces of the natural mesh at 10.5 inches, and we're doing the cone petal. Okay, so we are going to be using the large board, okay, and we're going to preload the large board. To preload your board, we're going to be using zip ties. I use 18-pound zip ties, and these ones are 6.3 inches long. They're clear well, they're called clear, they look more like a white. But to preload your board closed, so we're going to preload it closed, what you're going to do is go down. We're going to start on row 2. So we're not going to do anything on row 1. We're going to be using row 2, 3, 4, and 5 for this project. Okay, and what you're going to do is go down 1 hole, come back up the other hole, and the easiest way is to make sure that the flat side of your zip tie head is facing in between the 2 holes, so that when you go to do the zip tie up, it's the right way, and you'll hear a zipping sound and it locks. Okay, if you try and do it where it's not the flat side, well, that wouldn't work, but there's no zipping sound and it doesn't lock. So if that happens to you, double check you have your zip tie in the right way. So down and up, and then do your zip tie up and lock it. Now leave lots of space. Just do it up till you hear a couple zips, you know, the zipping sounds. All right, so you're going to preload all the normal holes on row 2, and row 3 does have an extra hole, and these are for sharing, but we are only going to use the normal holes on row 3. So the normal holes are very close together, and there's 8 of them. Okay, row 4, we're going to be using normal holes, 8 of them. And row 5, we are also going to be using the normal holes, which is 4, but we're going to be using some shared holes as well. Another way that you can preload your board is people just get a cup or whatever you have, and you can flip your board upside down and put your zip tie, again with the flat side facing the middle of the 2 holes, and just pop them in like this. Okay, and this is a bit faster, just like that, and then you can flip it over and do them up. Again, you just want to do it up till you hear a zipping sound. Okay, so to recap, we are doing preloading closed, row 2, 3, 4, and all of 5. So I'll show you the back. It looks like stitching on the back. We have 24 at 10.5 inches of this mesh, and we have 16 at 10.5 inches at this mesh. Okay, so now the petal. Let me zoom down a bit. So the petal. This is, I call it the cone petal. It almost looks like a dahlia petal. So when we're finished, the piece kind of looks like a dahlia. It's really pretty. You'll see in a second, I'll show you. But to do the petal, we are going to use our mesh curl up. And curl up means like if you rock it back and forth, that's curl up. This would be curled down. And I do indicate when I do my tutorials if it's up or down. This particular one is going to be up. And these are what I call my factory or finished edges. Right on the edge here, you can see stitching and stuff. That is the factory edge. And these are the cut edges that I cut with, okay? So we're going to do it curl up. You are going to turn your piece of mesh into a diamond shape, just like that. And I always, for no matter what I'm doing, no matter what petal I'm doing, I always make sure that my finished or factory edge is on my left top. And it does make a difference with some kinds of petals that the all the petals are folded the exact same way. And to achieve this, if you always remember to have your factory edge top left, you'll never forget. So always just train yourself to do it like that. Okay, so for the petal, what you can do if you are a perfectionist, I am not, you can find the middle part of your mesh by just folding it completely in half and making a little mark when you fold. So you can see that I have a little mark there. Because what we're going to do is we're going to bring the bottom corner up to the middle. we are going to bring the top corner down to the middle, just like that. Okay. I'm going to now fold it out. I'm going to take this edge and bring it to the middle. And then I'm going to bring the top one to the middle, just like that. So they're up against each other like that. And then I'm going to do it one more time. So I'm going to take this and bring it to the middle, and take the top one and bring it to the middle. So as you can see, just by my folding, a lot of our cut edge that's going to fray is already tucked in inside our petal. Okay, so this is what it looks like when we've done all these folds. And then I'm just going to pinch it in the center here, and we're going to flip it over. So it's like almost like an or like a tie type formation. And then what I'm going to do is flip it upwards. Flip it up, and then what I'm looking for when I flip it up is that both are about the same length. Okay? You see that? And that is our petal. Now I'll do it again, because that's the whole wreath is this. You can pre-make your petals if you'd like. I didn't pre-make mine, but I did start the wreath already by using some little rubber bands that you find at the dollar store in the hair section. You can put a little rubber band on the bottom of it and put it aside, and that way it's ready to go when you're ready to go to start making your wreath. Okay, so let's do it again. I'll do it with the natural color. You might be able to see it better. Okay, curl up, diamond shape, factory edge on my left top. Always, my right hand is the tattoo, okay? Now you can, like I said, you can find the center. I just guess, but for teaching purposes, I will show you the proper way. So you can fold it in half, like I said, make a little mark there. Oh, here they go. They're singing to us. Bring the bottom corner up to that middle, the top corner down. And it just barely, this corner just barely goes over the bottom corner. Okay? Kind of flatten them at the edges. We're going to cut that string off. And you will have strings. You can wait till the end of your wreath to cut your strings, or you can cut them as you're going. So we're going to bring this bottom up to the middle. We're going to bring the top down to the middle. So this is what we got. Now you could scrunch here and have your petal done like that. I like it a little bit thinner in the center. So I bring it, again, I fold it right back up to the center and fold it back down. So you're doing 3 folds. And you're basically making the center a little bit thinner. And you're going to scrunch it in the middle, turn it over, and flip it up. So it looks like a cone, right? And that's why I call it the cone petal. And this is, like I said, perfect for making dahlias. So we're technically making a fall dahlia with a sign in the middle. It's really pretty. And then again, if you want, you can just put an elastic band around it. Alrighty. So let's get what I've started already. And we'll be making more of the petals, so you can just follow along. And this is what we have so far. Isn't that pretty? Let me scroll out a bit. So it fills in quite nicely. And we have like a few strings that we'll cut off at the end because we'll probably get some more going anyways. So for this particular design, I did row 2 and 3 with the striped mesh. And I did row 4 and 5 with the natural mesh. And I used the natural mesh for the center, so my sign really pops and won't clash with the orange and natural. So that is why I put the natural in the center. The sign is just going to pop right out, and it's going to be stunning. And it's going to be quite a good size wreath without all kinds of ribbons and all that stuff. This is one of my favorite wreaths. I love doing flower wreaths. So row 2, again, I have a couple I have to preload. So down one, up the other. And hear that little zip. And up the other. So I did say row 5 is a little bit different. So we're going to use all the normal holes, including the shared holes. So I still have one zip tie to put there. But you can see on the back, we use the normal holes on row 2, the normal holes on row 3, normal holes on row 4, and row 5 we use normal and shared. Okay, so I have one more to put right in here. Now, you do not have to do it this way. If you did buy a kit, there is many other ways that you can use the mesh and the sign. You can do a rolled petal. Rolled petal really does look very similar to this. This is just a little bit wider at the top. Okay, so you see the mesh a little bit more with this cone style petal. Okay, so I have a preloaded one, or a pre-made one already with the elastic band, and you'll see when you put elastic bands on it, it's really easy. You just slide it in the zip tie and do the zip tie up around the elastic band. So you're doing about a fingertip nub, I call it, into the zip tie. Okay, so we're going to continue. So you'll see me making a lot of petals because I did not make any of the petals except for the ones I put in. So I'm just going to guesstimate the middle. Okay, so fold to the center, and then I fold one more time. Now I'm not folding it over, I'm folding this right again to the center, just like that. Scrunch it, and then flip it up. We're going to make sure they're both the same size and length. And then I'm going to put the nub right in, about a fingertip, right into the zip tie. Now, if the strings do bother you, you can wood burn or heat seal this mesh, which is basically melting the ends of where you cut, and it prevents the mesh from further fraying or having strings. But as you can see with this petal, we may have a few strings that we have a few strings that are going to show, and I'm just going to cut those. Much easier than wood burning everything. There we go. Flip it up. As you can see, it makes a really nice petal. We don't have too much bulk at the bottom, and it kind of flares at the top, so we really see this really pretty mesh. Alrighty, and then once you have row 2 done, you're going to go in and clip these tails right off. And you can, I have a little bucket, you can recycle them. Alright, that's row 2 finished, and we still have a nice neat back, okay? Row 3, there's 8, I'm still going to be using this striped mesh. Alrighty. over. And get it in and put it in again about a fingertip. And I have a small finger, so it looks like about a ½ inch in. All right, and then we do the next one. So with a wreath like this, it's really easy to price out if you are selling your wreaths, because you can literally do the math quite easy. We use 24 pieces of this mesh, 16 of this mesh, what it costs for the board, what it costs for the zip ties, and we've used 38 zip ties, and what it costs for the sign and stuff. So, and keep in mind, we will have quite a bit of mesh left over. All right, so that is all we need for the striped mesh. And now rows 4 and 5, I'm going to be using this natural one. Okay, so that is 8 of them on row 4. Again, we'll clip off the tails. And we are on our last row. In this row, we're going all the way around so that any of these spots will get filled in and you won't see the board or your zip ties. So if you're just new to Unique in the Creek, this is a really good beginner petal. And you'll see it makes a really stunning wreath with all the without all the fancy dancy stuff. Just some pretty mesh, a cute sign, and this sign's really cute. It's got the teal glitter, so it's really gonna pop out. And it makes a very nice size wreath that people would, you can see it from your road and stuff like that. Because if you're going to put a wreath on your front door, put a wreath that you can actually see. And I'm just going around this circle. Now you don't want to go too far in with your nub, because we want to keep these 2 center holes exposed so we can put our sign pipe cleaners just down the hole. So it'll be completely center. So if you're just new, you can tell that when you use the Unique & Creek board, we've pretty much done the work for you. There's no guessing onto where you have to put your zip ties and how many pieces you need to cut and everything. If you were to, like, say, use a wire frame or something with canvas and all that jazz, it's pretty much ready to go. So I need 2 more. So again, at 10.5. Now, I found using the new rectangle board is really awesome for helping you make sure that you cut your mesh straight. And that really helps when you're making flower wreaths, that your mesh is a complete square. So this is 10.5 inches wide. So I put my mesh completely down on my mat, right at the 0, and I'm making sure that the bottom of my factory edge is right along the line. Okay, and then I'm going to use the edge of this, which is really handy. So if you got a rectangle board, save one for cutting. And I'm going to do one at 21 inches because we're doing 10.5 inch pieces. So I just run just like that and get a complete nice square. And then again at the 10.5 here. There we go. All right, 2 more pieces. Fills in quite nicely throughout our wreath. One more last piece. So we got pretty much a half a roll of this one left. So you could possibly do another wreath, maybe with a different color. We have a quarter of a roll of this one. But the natural mesh is great for any project. It matches anything. The natural color. All right, last one. Okay, nicely done there. Cut these, and we're ready for our sign. Isn't that great? What a nice, it's such a beautiful wreath. I love this. It's not too much. Sometimes less is more. And it measures, we're looking at 26 inches. So perfect size for, like I said, for a front door. All right, so we're gonna flip this over. And just make sure we got all our pieces in, so you can flick to make sure you didn't miss anything. I could tell I didn't miss anything because you would see kind of a hole. And I'm going to go around. You can see where your strings for the row 2 are coming out best when it's upside down. So this is a little bit faster than actually having to heat seal anything. All right, and there we have our complete center. Now on the back, you'll see 2 holes up at the top. They're kind of close together on row 1. Those are our hanging holes. I'm just going to take a zip tie and go down and up. Zip it and then cut this tail off, and that's what I'm going to use for a hanger. You can use wire or ribbon or anything. Just be careful that you don't use anything that may scratch a customer's door or your own door. Okay, and now these two holes right in the center are where I'm going to be going in. Oh, I didn't put that very centered. Yeah, it should have been up more. That's okay. That's where the two pipe cleaner are going down the hole. 1 and 2. Okay, and just pull it. Don't tug on it because that glue is still drying. Give it a few twists. Cut off the end of the pipe cleaner. We're going to put it back down the hole so we keep everything nice and neat still, and nothing is going to scratch the door or anything. Okay, and then if you are selling this at a craft show or just selling it anywhere, make sure you put your business card on it. You could even put your business card over the Union Creek logo, put a sticker, something where the customer that bought it will know where to come and get their Christmas one. Okay, and then once it's on there, you can move it around. I don't like to fuss too much with the sign until the next day, so I know it's completely dry. And there we go. We have a really pretty fall flower wreath that's very welcoming because it's welcome fall. Okay, thank you everybody for joining me, and if you want to see more tutorials like this, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, and all our replays are on our YouTube channel. So whatever board you get, so if you purchase a large board, go to our YouTube channel, go down the playlist, and you'll find a category called large boards, and anything I've done on a large board will be there. So you just scroll down the pictures and see what you would like to make, and I will be there showing you how to make it. All right, everybody, thanks for joining me again. Bye-bye.